Okay, so the technology I chose to explore for this assignment is Edmodo, which is a social networking site for education. So as a teacher, you can get a profile like I did, and you sign up online, and then you can connect yourself with your school that you have. So if I go to my profile here, it shows what things there are about me, any collections I've added, and then also I can go to my settings and connect myself with a school. So if I taught at a school right now, I could connect myself with them and other classes in that school. And then we'll go back here to the home page. So that's the first purpose of this tool, is to connect yourself with your school and then also with your students. So you can create groups here on the left hand side. So let me click on mine, and then obviously I don't have any students right now, but when you do, you can add students to your page and add assignments or alerts or notes or quizzes or polls that they can all add to. And then you can also make small groups here on the side so that there's more personalized instruction for certain students. Also, this tool requires you to verify that you are an actual teacher. So there's a process to go through, either by uploading your verification or completing an online form that says, yes, you are a teacher, and what you're doing is authentic. So that's good because it protects students and other teachers from people that aren't actually teachers. But I'm not a teacher right now, so I'm going to click later and return back to Edmodo. Okay, so the first purpose, is to connect with other people in your school and your students. And then the second purpose of Edmodo is to be able to gather resources for yourself. So if I click here on this icon, the library icon, I see that I can upload links and files that I want to be able to access quickly later. I can create folders to organize things. So if I wanted to add one, I would just hit new folder here. Or I can attach things to posts. Or you can connect to your Google Drive, which I thought was very helpful and an easy way to find resources and access them later. So what I found as I was exploring the site is that it's very user friendly. Everything's there's a lot of icons. You can hover over things and see like what the next thing would be. For instance, this Discover is another way to gather resources. So the first way in the library is your own personal resources that you're gathering, and then this Discover is you gathering other resources. So for instance, it shows that there's these other games or apps or educational tools that you can use. For instance, Prezi, like we've talked about using in this class, I could click on that and learn more about that. So there's the featured ones at the top, and then as I scroll down, I can see that there are other resources that have been gathered that I can look through and see if there's anything helpful for my class. There's map making tools, grammar games, and then I can go back home and here on this side of my page, you can see that there is a calendar, or a planner I guess, that I can use to organize all the events and that I have coming up. And then I can also go to this store if I was interested and look at the different apps that Edmodo offers. So you can browse through there and find different ways that you could incorporate computer technology or creative arts, language arts, math. Say I wanted to look into math. Then I could go through here and download this game or any other game that I thought might be helpful for my class, and then that would just be stored in where my apps go. So here's the manage my apps icon, and I can look through here and see all the apps that I have, what I want to keep, and then I can also add to a wish list for future apps that I wanted. And then one other thing that you can do is you can let's go back home, and then let's see here. Okay, so that's your notifications. It's right there, simple for you. And then if I wanted to look into communities, I could come down here to the left side and search communities. I'm currently not a part of any, but if I wanted to join them, I can discover new communities. Click on that. And there you have a lot of different things that I could choose to follow if I wanted to follow a math community, the language arts, social studies, and that would just help me gather resources in any area that I was interested in as a teacher, which is really helpful. And then the final thing you can do besides connecting with communities, gathering resources, storing those resources, is you can create polls, quizzes, and discussions with your students. So if I went here to my 4th grade group and I wanted to create a quiz, I could just click on quiz, and then I could either load from a collection of quizzes I've already made. For instance, I made this get to know you quiz earlier, or I could choose to create a quiz. So I'll just do a few steps of that just to show you how easy it is. You just highlight this and you can name your quiz. And then I can choose what kind of questions I want it to be. So if I choose short answer, and then all you have to do is add your first question, and then I would just create any question. So what is your sport? And then I want to add my next question. I'll just go to this one. You add questions, and then once you're done with that, you can choose to randomize the questions, and then you can also attach things, browse from your library, and then once you're done, you just hit assign quiz. And there you have it. So then if I went up to my quizzes again, and there's my quiz 1. So then I create a due date for it, and then I can send it to somebody. So if I had students, I'd be able to send it to them, but I don't. So I think at this point I can only send it to myself. Okay, and then you can just send it. And that would have your students have access to it as well. So, the strengths of this tool that I found is that it's extremely user-friendly. It's a great way to put all your resources in one place. You can gather educational resources, you can connect with others, you can find lesson plans, you can store your lesson plans, you can connect to your Google Drive, and you can create quizzes, polls, and assignments for your classes. The downside that I see is that because its nature is highly social and collaborative, it's hard to use unless others in your school are using it or others that you will collaborate with are using it, because in and of itself it doesn't do you much good unless you're able to connect to others. So it's kind of one of those things that a lot of people have to be using in order to really be effective. So that's probably the biggest weakness I saw. And then other similar educational tools, one thing I thought of was Canvas. It seems very similar. Just as you create a class, you can create quizzes, you can assign things, set dates, and then also it reminded me of KidBlog because you were able to have students post their ideas here that all the class can see together. So in the classroom, how you would use this is to get discussions going, to allow students a platform that they can take quizzes easily, to allow them to answer your questions, to turn in assignments, to collaborate with you, and for you as a teacher to store and gather and organize resources. So that's Edmodo. It's a educational social network, and it can be an effective tool in your classroom if you use it correctly.